After 2 decades of being the face of Red Bull's racing operations, a dramatic shift has taken place. Christian Horner has been removed from his role as team principal, effective immediately. This decision has sent shockwaves through the Formula One world, raising serious questions about the future of both Red Bull and Horner himself. According to sources close to the matter, Horner might already have his eyes set on Ferrari, a team currently struggling to find consistent form, and in need of a shake-up at the top. But will this be the kind of change that pushes Ferrari in the right direction? And more urgently, is Red Bull now facing a complete overhaul? The announcement of Horner's exit sparked confusion and speculation. Within minutes, team principals and fans alike were left wondering what exactly happened behind the scenes. The Austrian outfit has clearly been dealing with internal divisions, and while Horner appeared to come out on top in the recent disputes, it now looks like the Verstappen-Marko group may have had the final say. Laurent Mekies, the current head of the Racing Bulls, has reportedly stepped in to fill the gap, at least for now. But the most pressing concern is what's next for Horner. Ferrari has long admired his leadership, and it's been reported that they reached out to him not long ago. Back then, Horner dismissed the offer with a light comment, claiming he couldn't speak Italian and that he had no reason to leave Red Bull. Technically, that was true. He didn't resign, he was forced out. Now, all previous assumptions about his future are being questioned, and a new narrative is beginning to form. As Ferrari looks to rebuild its competitive edge, Horner's name is gaining traction in serious internal discussions. Under Bear's leadership, the team has failed to live up to expectations. What once looked like a promising title contender has now faded into a mid-grid performer. Despite a few moments of hope, including Hamilton nearly grabbing a podium at Silverstone, the reality is harsh. Being outrun by Hülkenberg not once but twice this season purely on race pace has alarm bells ringing in Maranello. Vigna and Ocon had previously voiced their support for Vassar, indicating they would back him at least until the 2026 season. However, with Horner now unexpectedly available, their stance may shift quickly, and frankly, who could blame them? The legacy Horner carries from his years at Red Bull is difficult to ignore. For championships with Sebastian Vettel, a rough but eventually successful partnership with Renault, and a brilliant turnaround with Honda that led to yet another championship run, the record speaks for itself. Last year's title win by Verstappen, despite having a car that wasn't the fastest on the grid, is a rare feat not seen since the early 1980s. That achievement alone under Horner's command is enough to make any top-tier team reconsider their current plans. And yet, Red Bull never quite felt like home for Horner anymore. Ever since tensions rose due to public clashes involving Jos Verstappen and Helmut Marko, it became clear that a breakdown was inevitable. Jos went as far as to publicly accuse Horner of causing internal instability. With such fractures emerging from within, something had to give. And now it has. With Horner ousted, a door has opened, one that Ferrari might just walk through without hesitation. They need someone who brings experience, in pressure, and above all, proven results. Right now, there's hardly anyone more qualified than him. Another strong reason why Horner might not wait long before joining a new team is the way his exit unfolded. According to respected commentator Martin Brundle, Red Bull's top brass didn't offer any clear justification for removing Horner from his position. Brundle expressed genuine surprise, stating that the timing and nature of the decision caught everyone off guard. In his own words, he felt quite sad because he had considered Horner a friend and respected the massive contribution he made over 2 decades. Brundle hinted that while things might have appeared steady on the outside, those within the F1 paddock had sensed growing unease for quite some time. Even Verstappen's camp claimed they weren't informed in advance. Their official statement emphasized that they were only told about the decision by Red Bull management, and it was now up to the company to explain their reasons. Despite all the drama, their focus remains firmly on performance. They stressed that their goal is still to compete at the front, and that the change in leadership wouldn't affect that ambition, at least on paper. But in reality, questions linger. Did the organization simply lose faith in Horner's ability to steady the ship and guide the team back to form? The answer may lie in the bigger picture. Verstappen, the 4-time world champion, has repeatedly refused to commit to long-term plans with Red Bull. He's been vague about his future, which could signal internal conflict. And now, with Horner out of the frame, it's no longer unthinkable that Max might also be re-evaluating his place within the team. It's important to remember the amount of turbulence Horner managed to survive before his removal. From the departure of Adrian Newey, the genius behind many Red Bull designs, to key figures like Jonathan Wheatley, Will Curtin, and Rob Marshall leaving for rival teams, Horner continued to lead the squad without letting those exits derail their results. In fact, Rob Marshall's move has been crucial in McLaren's rise this season, yet even that didn't seem to shake Horner's position until now. But things began to unravel when questions around Max Verstappen's future took center stage. The team owners who had previously stood by Horner through years of ups and downs suddenly stepped in. This timing strongly suggests that Verstappen's uncertain stance may have forced their hand. There's speculation that private talks were held between Max's father Jos and Helmut Marko conversations that may have led to a consensus. Horner had to go. Jos Verstappen had long warned that tensions within the team couldn't be ignored. In past interviews, he made it clear that as long as Horner stayed, Red Bull was risking a total breakdown from within. He even said things could explode if no action was taken. Accusations of Horner playing the victim while stirring conflict behind the scenes only added fuel to the fire. In the end, it looks like Jos's warnings were finally taken seriously. Now, with Horner out, a fresh door opens, and Ferrari might be the one to walk through it. He brings 8 drivers' titles and 6 constructors' trophies under his belt. Very few team leaders have such a history, though Ferrari has shown interest in nurturing internal talent. Bringing in someone with this level of experience could be the bold move they need. If Horner does join Ferrari, a few things would need to be addressed. Memories of the rivalry between Red Bull and Ferrari would have to be set aside. Horner's time with Red Bull was filled with intense moments against the Italian team. But those chapters may now be behind him. A fresh environment could give him the freedom to build something new, away from the internal tensions that plagued his final months in Austria. The current signs suggest that Horner is seriously considering this move, and why wouldn't he? Ferrari needs someone who understands how to manage pressure, make tough calls, and work with elite drivers. There's also talk that Horner would be managing Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, 2 drivers with massive expectations and egos to match. But if anyone is equipped to balance that dynamic, it's him. His history of managing both rising stars and veterans shows he knows how to handle delicate team chemistry. It's worth noting that Red Bull had one of the most efficient strategy departments under Horner. That's an area where Ferrari has struggled repeatedly. From poor pit stop decisions to misreading weather conditions, they've often thrown away results. With Horner overseeing operations, that part of the team could become a strength instead of a weakness. At this point, the rumors feel more than just speculation. Horner's track record is unmatched, and his experience could give Ferrari a much-needed lift. If they want to return to regular winning ways, this may be their best chance. The pieces are lining up, and the racing world is watching closely to see what happens next. Now that Horner's future seems to be leaning toward Ferrari, the bigger question is what happens to Max Verstappen and Red Bull's long-term direction. There are a few possibilities, and each one could shift the Formula One landscape. One scenario is that Max has already committed to leaving for Mercedes. If that's true, Red Bull may have decided to part ways with Horner now, in preparation for a fresh start. With new talent expected to come up through the ranks, drivers like Liam Lawson or Issa Qajar, the management might prefer a clean slate rather than risk carrying old tensions into the next era. In this case, it would make sense to begin with a new team boss. On the other hand, there's a theory that Max himself demanded a change at the top. The team's upgrades haven't delivered, the strategy calls have been questionable, and overall direction seems unclear. If Verstappen gave Red Bull an ultimatum, it's either Horner or me, then this recent decision might be the team's way of keeping their top asset. Max knows his value, and if the results aren't coming, he won't hesitate to take control of the situation. Interestingly, this all unfolded just before the summer break, a time when crucial driver contracts and team decisions are usually finalized. The fact that there was no major warning about Horner's removal makes everything even more dramatic, and if Red Bull loses both Max and Horner, a full reset may be on the horizon. Without Verstappen's consistency and Horner's leadership, the team might struggle to stay ahead once the 2026 regulations come into play. But let's not forget, Horner is not out of options. If he does move to Ferrari and manages both Leclerc and Hamilton with the same balance and confidence he showed at Red Bull, we could be in for a massive shift in dominance. Ferrari's real weakness hasn't been talent, it's been leadership, and Horner might just be the missing piece. So now the motorsport world waits. What will Christian Horner do next? Will Ferrari pull the trigger and make it official? And how will Verstappen respond? One thing's for sure, the coming months could reshape everything we thought we knew about the front of the F1 grid.